Hey, what's up guys? Matt here. Welcome to my Towers of Midnight review. This is book 13 in the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson. This review is going to be like some in the past. I've kind of got a bit of a cadence going down with how the reviews go. You get a written spoiler-free portion, and then you get a sometimes you get a review score. Today you're going to get a review score, and then we do a spoiler story breakdown. So that's how this one's going to play out. Yeah. If you hear some noise in the background, my son is playing with his Thomas the Trains, so he's having a lot of fun with those in here. But I would like to start off by saying I really enjoyed this book. This particular edition, I had some issues with the pages, my creases, of course. But there were a few pages you can see. It's like the book came like this, with some pages cut a little bit differently. Like sometimes it went right to the edge of the bottom of the page, and like that doesn't typically happen. Typically you have some margin. So that, I mean, it was fine. It didn't cut anything off, but there were some pages near the middle of the book that, as I was reading, they would like nearly fall out. That didn't sway my score at all of this book, but that's just something to note for this particular edition. You can see I got all of these particular editions at the same time, so that's just what happened with that. And then again, shout out to the Wheel Weaves podcast. They're a great community. That's going along chapter by chapter, spoiler free, of course, because the reader is a first-time reader. I'm actually 2 books ahead of the podcast now, but yeah, so it's exciting. So here we go. Here's the spoiler free portion, and then I'll definitely specify when we go into the spoiler portion, because if you haven't read this book, you don't want to be spoiled, because it's the penultimate novel in a 15-book series. And I am going to read New Spring after A Memory of Light, so that's where we break down. So, Towers of Midnight book review, the 13th book in the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson. I thoroughly enjoyed this book, but I struggled a bit with this book. I struggled because it felt like a middle book in a trilogy. There are a lot of plot threads left open. Because this is the penultimate book, the second to last book in the series, there are a lot of plot threads that couldn't be finished because we're not into the final book. I love the Wheel of Time. I love this book. And you'll hear by my score that I loved this book. But some plot threads or plot lines even started this book. Book 13. There's one more book, A Memory of Light, that I'm reading next. That's the last book. The plot threads are starting this book, book 13. So that's exciting. We still get new things happening. This was a satisfactory entry into the series. It's a good book. It's just a good book. Great, great stuff. This book felt like it was a lot of Brandon Sanderson. And again, that's not a bad thing. It just felt a little disjointed from the writing in the past. It's just a little different. I noticed it. Maybe I'm just being a little nitpicky. But I can do that. It's my channel. There are a lot of cameos in this book for friends of the Wheel of Time community. There are beautiful one-liners in this book. Some very tweetable things. Just great stuff. The great action. The dialogue between characters is really crisp and to the point in this book. Yeah, just great. I am ecstatic to start A Memory of Light Monday. So I'm really excited to start that. Book 13 complete. Book 14 is left. And then, like I said, I will be reading New Spring after A Memory of Light. So there's that. Now we step into my review score of the book. I typically review the books and I give a number. It's a 1 out of 5 score. It's mostly based on my enjoyment of the book. So this is something that is kind of not important. If I enjoyed the book, it gets a 5. If I didn't enjoy the book, sometimes it gets a 4. If it's a okay book, it gets a 3. The only 2-star book I gave was 1984 by George Orwell. Classic. But I wasn't a big fan of that. Anyways, I was very, very excited about this book. I really enjoyed it. But I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Of my enjoyment. I really enjoyed the dialogue, the plot, and the world building, of course, but I felt like this book held back. Like it could have done more. But again, this is the penultimate book to the finale. There are plot lines in this book that drag down my enjoyment. I skimmed some chapters. There are some characters that created some slower pacing for the book, which was interesting, but that's okay. I'm not going to spoil that just yet. We're not into the full spoilers yet. I feel like there are some characters and people groups that aren't very important to the story, so they were kind of left out of this book, and others. Doesn't mean I didn't love the book. I gave it a 4 out of 5, and I'm excited to see what happens with the Memory of Light. I'm hoping for a big old 5. Okay, now we're in full spoilers. 13 books. Here we go. This is full spoilers for Towers of Midnight. If you've not read it, please shy away. I'm excited. Here we go. I'm going to do this by character, so you'll know when I jump to people. So I'm going to start with Lan Mandragoran, one of my favorite characters in this series. Lan has gathered 12,000 of the Borderlanders and has raised his title Lord of the Seven Towers, Defender of the Wall of First Fires, Bearer of the Sword of 1,000 Lakes. And we leave Lan charging into battle against 150,000 Shadow Spawn at Tarwin's Gap. Okay, we are in book 13. We haven't had Moraine Damodred for 7 books now? 7 books. We had her last in book 5, Fires of Heaven, and now she's back. Moraine is back. She was kept in the Alphine and the Eelfine world, and they fed on her power, and she is weakened. But she has an ivory bracelet Angreal. And Matt, Tom, and Noel, who is actually Jane Farstrider, saved her from the snakes and foxes. Moraine and Tom have professed their love and mentioned that he would be her warder. Incredible. Noel, as I said, turned out to be Jane Farstrider. He sacrificed himself to save Moraine. Ah, what a fitting end from Jane Farstrider. Elaine was able to reconnect with a lot of people, so here we go. Elaine was able to reconnect with Galad, Gawain, Matt, Tom, Perrin, and Morgaze. Finally, we know Morgaze is Morgaze. She has reconnected, and she's going to be reconnecting with more people. I'm excited because a lot of people thought that Rand killed her. Rand did not kill her. We know that. Elaine has also borrowed the Foxhead Medallion from Matt and was able to create copies of the Terangriel in exchange for help with Eludra's dragons, which I might talk about. That's a canon that Eludra has made, and it's going to be important coming up with the last battle. Elaine now has the throne of Cairhien as well. So she has Cairhien and now Caemlyn. Or she has Caemlyn and now Cairhien. Morgaze, she's alive. She married Talonvor. Yay. Avienda goes to Ruidian and goes through the columns and then goes in a second time, which you're not supposed to do, but she did it anyway. She sees the future of the Aiel and has a plan to help stop that from happening. Yeah. Avienda meets someone named Nakomi. I don't know who it is. I mean, other than her name is Nakomi. She showed up and disappeared after talking with Avienda. We don't know much about her. She's an Aiel woman. She knows a lot about Rand and the Aiel, so we'll see what happens. Nynaeve heals madness. Somehow, Nynaeve was able to heal madness. She passes her test for the Shawl as Aes Sedai now, and she took Lan's bond from Morel. Egwene believes Rand is mad, intending to break the seals, which he is planning to break the seals. But Egwene summons armies with the intent to stop Rand. Egwene also bonds Gawain as warder. Egwene faces Missana in Teleran Riyadh in the reflection of Tar Valon, and Missana and the Black Aja are there. Egwene breaks Missana's mind in a battle of wills, and Missana dies. So Wow. Okay. PERRIN. PERRIN has a lot that happened in this book. So let's go through PERRIN. So let's get into it. PERRIN trains with Hopper in the Wolf Dream. I'm going to come back to the Wolf Dream because I have a question about that. PERRIN finds a strange wall in the Wolf Dream. Turns out to be a dream spike set up by Slayer, who is also Esam and Lord Luke. PERRIN also was judged by Morghese against Galad and the White Cloaks. They considered PERRIN a dark friend for killing some White Cloaks. Morghese declared PERRIN guilty and gave the punishment to Galad. PERRIN then saved Galad from the White Cloaks from a Trolloc attack. PERRIN and Hopper steal the Dream Spike and end up destroying the Dream Spike from Slayer. Hopper is then killed. PERRIN learns not to fear the wolf inside him and reunites with Noam, the wolf brother. PERRIN had a lot in this book, so we're still going. PERRIN crafted a power-wrought hammer with the help of the Ashaman and the Wise Ones, and now the Ashaman might be able to recreate more power-wrought weapons, which we're super excited about. The Aiel really want those. PERRIN was also named Steward of the Two Rivers. Grendel was also the one who sent Slayer and the Dream Spike to PERRIN, is now being punished by Shadar Haran. Oliver wins the games of Snakes and Foxes, the games that you're not supposed to be able to win, and now plans to kill the Shido who killed his father. Caemlyn is being sieged by Shadowspawn from the Waygate in Caemlyn. We still have some more left. So, Mat killed the Golem, which I think there are still like 4 or 5 left, maybe. They were in a stasis box, I believe. Mat, Tom, Noel, again, entered the Tower of Genjai and saved Moraine. Mat had his eye removed from the Eelfin to give Moraine her freedom, using the Ashendari to open a doorway out of the Tower of Genjai. Moving to Rand. Rand comes down from Dragonmount at the beginning of this book and is changed. His presence makes all things better. He visits Egwene and announces that he will break the seals of the Dark One's prisons at the field of Merilor. Rand apologizes to his friends and goes to restore order in Bandar Eban. He also helps save Bashir and Itoralde. King Al-Salam is found alive. Rand also meets with the Borderlander monarchs. He is ready to start the last battle. Okay, my question is with Tel'aran'rhiod and the Wolf Dream. Are they the same thing? I assume so, but it has not been completely confirmed. It's not been completely confirmed that it is Tel'aran'rhiod and the Wolf Dream, but somehow PERRIN can communicate with Egwene. So I assume it has to be the same thing. I just haven't seen it on the page yet. The Forsaken. Here's the Forsaken alive. Damodred, Lanfear, Ishamael, Moghedien, Grendel, and Samael. I think Grendel and Samael are still alive. Dead. Asmodean. Yeah. Balefired, Ravine, Cimarok, Balthamel, Baal, Agenor. Yeah. Because Agenor, this was a different list last episode, but Agenor, which is Halima, also died in place of Grendel. The Shanshin now have traveling, courtesy of Sufa, which is actually Elida, who is taken by the Shanshin. They plan to use traveling to attack the White Tower again. The Black Tower, something is happening there. There's a character, Andral, who we learned about this book. He was a new storyline. He's building up a bit of a resistance against Taim. There must be a Dream Spike in the Black Tower because nobody can gateway in or out. Lanfear. In the epilogue, Rand hears a woman crying and Rand shows up and it's Lanfear. She is scared. Is Lanfear going to be saved by Rand? I don't know. The Field of Merilor is a place where Rand will meet with monarchs, the Amyrlin Seat Egwene, PERRIN and his forces, the Band of the Red Hand, the White Cloaks, and they are known as the Force of the Light. Also, we learned who killed Asmodean. Sort of. It's in the glossary. If you want to figure it out, check it out. All right, that's my review of Towers of Midnight. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. I will start A Memory of Light as soon as possible. All right, bye.